Lilly, are we back, man? Apparently, Cincinnati Bearcats have a bag that they can throw around. Wes Miller, I'm sorry that I ever doubted you. Now, we need to see it on the floor. We need to see how the roster construction works out. But you want to talk about two massive portal hauls. This is big. It's Moustapha Thiam. We saw him torch the Cincinnati Bearcats a couple times for the Central Florida Knights. He had 14 and 8. He had 13 and 5 in the Crown, had 8 blocks in a game against Kansas State, a legitimate NBA draft prospect in the 2026 class. He's listed as the first pick in the second round right now per NBA draft room. So, hey, UC has a talented big, 7'2". I forgot to mention that, 7'2", 235. And then they get themselves a shooter as well, Jalen Celestine from Baylor. He's a known commodity in the Big 12, can put the ball in the basket. Is he someone that's going to give you 20 points a night? Probably not, but he can knock down some threes. And if you're talking about him replacing the role that Rayvon Griffith or Josh Reed potentially had, he's a serviceable player there and a noticeable upgrade. We're going to get into the roster construction, what this means for the Bearcats, and how UC was able to land Moustapha Thiam, who, had he hit the market, would have been a very coveted player. This is Chatterbox Bearcats. You can find it wherever you get your audio podcasts, and we're on YouTube. I'm Chuck Walter. Eric Lilly, Bearcat Bunch, joins the show today. So let's start with the crown jewel of this class thus far. It is Cham, a lob threat, someone that blocks shots, looks a little bit like Aziz physically, does have a few inches on Aziz, but plays nothing like him. This is someone that could step out and hit multiple threes in a game. He went 3 of 4 from deep in a game this season. Does he have post moves? I don't know, but he's got enough of a baby hook and enough of a little J to where he is a serious offensive threat and someone that can continue to develop down the road. Cham, we've heard the rumblings for a while now. How did we land this dude?
Man, this is crazy. The rumors were popping up a couple weeks ago, very deep cut rumors, not from UC's side or anything like that, but there is a relationship there with the assistant at UCF and Dye. Don't know if that's going to happen or not. I mean, it feels like it is. We'll see if that gets announced soon or not. But Chad Dollar did coach with him at Georgia Tech 11 years ago. So there is connection there. Obviously, Wes seems to strongly prefer guys that he's faced. We faced both of these guys. Just so you can see guys on the court, and who knows if there's relationships within the conference. You know, these guys network together. We played in the Crown. They were in Vegas. All sorts of connections you can make in your head. We'll probably find out at some point how it all went down. There are some strong accusations from the UCF side that some nasty work was going on here, but
Dog eat dog world, man.
Yeah, if you're not doing that stuff, you're not going to survive, right? So I'm loving it, Chuck. It kind of feels like we're heading back to that Twin Tower thing that I complained about a couple years ago with Jamil at the 4 and Vic and Aziz at the 5. This is different, though. Right now, it is a little weird looking at the roster. We don't know who the 4 is. There is no pure 4 right now. That can change. But we have a 5 who can shoot threes. So you can be weird at the 4 when you have that. And I just tweeted this, but there's 2 freshmen in the history of Bart Torvik that have over a 9% block rate and shot 75 threes. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Moustapha Thiam. He shoots threes, guys. A lot of people are going to say, well, it's 29%. Does not matter. If you have a 5 that shoots that many threes as a true freshman, they're probably going to get a little better at it, number one. And number 2, it still is a threatening thing that other teams have to defend, and it changes everything else for all the other players on the court.
That's not a one-off by any means. He shot a 3 in just about every single game they played. A lot of times he'd shoot multiple threes. So, yes, he can stretch the floor. And, yes, Wes Miller's still going to have that lob play down because Cham is better at throwing down than Aziz Bandaogo was. And that was one of Bandago's strengths, obviously. Cham can go up and get it. So it's the 3rd straight year now where Wes has grabbed someone from a postseason tourney. It was Aziz. It was Hickman in the NIT, and now it's Cham, who they played in the Crown. His NBA comparison is Mo Bamba. So if we get a collegiate version of Mo Bamba, I think UC fans are going to be very happy. Very good length, a 7'6" wingspan. He's got a 9'5" standing reach. So essentially doesn't even have to jump to dunk it. Great mobility, runs the floor well, good athlete and finisher at the rim. Efficient scorer, good looking shot from the mid range and from 3-point. His jump shot has shown noticeable improvements over the last year. He's a willing screener. He can be a very good pick and pop player down the road, if not this season. Amazing shot blocker, very good help defender, shows good instincts and timing, covers ground well, and a shot blocking machine, did I mention? In order to reach his ceiling, he's going to have to get stronger. Good play finisher, but how good is his back to the basket game? That's a big question. Defensively, he impacts the game in so many ways that don't show up on the box score, just natural instincts, and is a very good rim protector. That is his best trait. So we bring this guy into the fold. That's the big question, is like, how is it going to work out with Jalen Haynes, who is also a center? Is Haynes slotted into the backup spot? Who's your 4? You going to go small ball and play Celestine at the 4? John Rothstein's going to have to update that roster that he had, where it was like Kirk Kriisa at the 3, Sean Abayev at the 4, and Jalen Haynes at the 5. This thing is completely shifted. My big question is, like, if Cham hit the open market, because it sounds like there was work during the crown to where UC was kind of pulling this string behind the scenes. If Cham hits the open market, like, he's probably getting an offer from every single team in the country. I mean, he's 7'2", he can hit threes, and he averaged 14 points a game his freshman season, 7 rebounds and 2.5 blocks per game in the Big 12. Like, this isn't some sort of project. This isn't a situation like Aziz where we saw him one game, but we didn't know how it would translate after playing in the WAC. Like, this guy's a known commodity in the Big 12, and he's only going to get better. This is a massive haul.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's a freshman. Like, when you have this much talent and you did that as a freshman, I think it's safe to say that there's going to be some sort of improvement for most guys like that. And Buckin 2025, the famous Discord user that started all this, he did mention a couple teams early on with Cham, Arkansas and Auburn. So yeah, I think you're spot on with that, Chuck. Now, I didn't really start taking the rumor seriously till Auburn and Arkansas took 2 big men on the same day, and I was like, man, this might actually be happening here, because he is a big fish. Like, this is a guy that you got to give credit to the staff for landing, I think.
Truly incredible how dismal last season was, how the state of the Bearcats was a burn it down mentality. Like, we thought this thing was done. It was like, we'll give Wes another season. We'll see how many of these players he brings back. As of right now, it seems like it's just 2 that played significant minutes last year. It's Jizzle James, it's Day Thomas, and then McKinley as well. But those are the 2 that are coming back. He's now added in 5 portal players. Cham being the crown jewel, and someone that can be a legitimate scorer for a team that clearly needs some scoring and can do it inside as well. Question becomes, how efficient can he be on the block in terms of helping generate offense? Can he be that inside-out threat? You give it to him down on the block, he finds someone out on the perimeter, or can make post-up moves, or is it more so just stick backs, finishing in transition? Most of the tape that we've watched is pretty much just lobs and dunks and finishing around the rim, but we'll see how much of a post-up game he truly has there. And then the pick and pop is huge, because that was something with Aziz last year. When Aziz is hanging around the perimeter, which he did a ton, he's a 0, and it really just did not allow good floor spacing whatsoever. And now you get someone that can hit it 32, 33% from 3, and he's 7'2". It's enough of a threat to where you can at least help space the floor. Someone else that's going to help you space the floor, from Baylor, Jaylen Celestine, played at California, covered him when I worked at CBS News Bay Area. A solid player. That's the way I would describe him. A known commodity at the Power 5 level, Power 4 level. Really good shooter. Shot at 38% last season from deep, or a 38% career 3-point shooter, I should say. had 18 and 7 against Kansas State, one of his best games of the season back in January. What do you think his role will be on this team? How many minutes a game is Jaylen Celestine going to be playing?
That's a tough one. I still want to see how he finish out this class. He's definitely going to play. Like, in my head, this is a Josh Reed replacement. There's a possibility he starts, though, if we decide to have a small ball 4 there. It is worth noting he did kind of squeeze his way into that Baylor lineup as a 4 after they had a big man get hurt. And you'll see a lot of Baylor fans complain about Celestine, about he doesn't really do 4-man things. Now, I think he is a 3 personally, but there's when you have Cham at the 5, one of the best shot blockers in the country. Just to give a little context, his block rate was 50% higher than Aziz's. And we look at Aziz as a decent rim protector, so 50% higher as a true freshman. You can do fun things at the 4 when you have that under the rim, and it's probably going to be Celestine at the 4 sometimes. I think he'll be more of a 3, possibly start, but possibly also just backing up whoever starts. I think he'll get 16, 22 minutes, Chuck. And this is a veteran shooter, like hundreds and hundreds of threes over his career, shot over 40% twice in power conferences. Legitimate shooter.
Got to look up the game log real quick. Stand by, because he played Cincinnati twice a season ago. In one game, he had 8 points. So it looks like he only played in one of those games against UC. He had 8 points. He was 3 of 5 from the floor, 2 of 4 from deep. Did have 7 rebounds in that game. So can do a little bit of everything. He's not going to be first team all Big 12. He's not going to be third team all Big 12. He's not going to be honorable mention all Big 12. But he's a piece that, look, if you're just talking about replacing scholarships and getting better one player at a time, he's better than Rayvon Griffith. Look at it that way. He's better than CJ Frederick. Look at it that way. He's better than Connor Hickman. Look at it that way. So you're adding in talent. The question becomes, how does this all fit? Roster construction. You got Big Slime, who when you watch his game is like nimble on his feet. He's 6'9". He's, powerful, 265 pounds, can hit the 3 ball a little himself, can put it on the deck, can really muscle up defensively, not a pure shot blocker by any means, but a very good scorer and can grab rebounds. And then you have that kind of girthy style as compared to the, Aziz mold, 7'2" and skinny as a rail. It comes back to roster construction for me. Like, how is Wes Miller going to make this all work? I mean, he's got Kirk Kriisa, who has played very significant high-level basketball for Arizona, for West Virginia, for, a few games for Kentucky. You add in the freshman, Sean Abayev, Keyshawn Tillery. You got Jizzle and Day coming back. You have defensive specialist Sincere Harris. Like, how is he going to mesh all these things? Because this has been the positive with Wes Miller every offseason. It's like he keeps getting talent. He has all these guys, and looks like we have 10 dudes potentially competing for 5 starting spots. We heard Fran Fraschilla say that at Big 12 Media Day last year. He's like, I look at you as having 8 starters. And by the end of the season, we had like 3. We just had to throw guys in there. It's like, hey, Josh Reed, you're a starter now because no one else wants to take this spot. When you look at how he has constructed this team, like, what is his plan here? Because it's interesting. There are a lot of players that I don't see them meshing well together on paper.
Yeah, the lingering fear of just not building a roster that makes sense it's going to be there for me. But I do think this one makes a lot more sense because Cham being like that elite of a rim protector, plus being able to shoot threes. And also something that we haven't really talked about with Jalen Haynes yet is I noticed in the press, or I watched all of his interviews on YouTube because I'm a sicko, but he mentioned passing being a strength of his. Like, he takes pride in being a passing big man. And if you do watch his highlights, you'll see the passes to cutting players. I think the other big man too, like some big stuff. I think, if he does end up playing the 4 next to Cham, maybe we see, the lob to Cham from Haynes, the big fella. I think there's a little versatility here, but like you said, there are concerns. We have at least one more player to add here, and then maybe that'll tell us the story, I think.
We were talking about who the blue chip's going to be, who the most expensive player is going to be in the portal. And we said early, if it's Kirk Ariza, we're in trouble, fellas. We know the answer. It's Cham. I don't see any scenario where a player could potentially make more than him. Like I told you, he's borderline first round pick in the 2026 NBA mock drafts. Like that's the kind of talent he has. Not many people average 14 points as a freshman in the Big 12, especially when they're 7'2". Like this is a unique type of talent that UC is welcoming in. Time to get fired up, man. I mean, time to get fired up. The question becomes like, where did UC get all this money all of a sudden? We've been hearing bottom half of the Big 12, right in the middle when it comes to NIL funds. This guy costed millions of dollars. I mean, no question about it.
I want to talk about this because I brought it up when the season was ending, when we were all down and like, we've got a lame duck coach. It's not going to work out. Like there's just no chance. The thing about Wes is he's just so obsessed with like you almost feel bad for him sometimes when you watch the pressers. Like, he wants it that bad. We don't have to worry about our coach not wanting to win here or for his career, even if it's for his career, like if he's sick of us. But he's going to give it his all. He's a great fundraiser. The NIL stuff, the rumors didn't really make sense to me because before last year we were kind of getting hyped as like, how does Cincinnati have this much money? Like, where are they doing this? It's back again. He's a salesman. He knows how to route. Like he's going to win the offseason, I think. Almost every year, if he's here, I think he'll win the offseason. The issue now is like this is the last chance, right? Like if
he's got to win the season or there won't be another offseason here.
Exactly. So
it'll be at Elon.
And then back up in some random ACC job in 4 years.
Yeah, man. Look, a lot of time to go before the season starts. A lot of things that we have to see before we could say the Cincinnati Bearcats are truly back. But in terms of me starting to believe, look, man, that's a big time get. That's 2 of them today. As of right now in the portal, Jalen Haynes is the only one to me that's somewhat of a wild card just because you haven't seen it consistently or you haven't seen it all at the power conference level. We saw him put up 18 points against Duke, and just watching the tape alone, he's got an intriguing skill set. Now the question becomes just how do all these pieces fit? You bring in Kriisa, you bring in Sincere Harris, you bring in Jalen Celestine, you bring in Big Slime, and now you add in a 7'2" man as well. Shooting in Kriisa, big shot blocking presence in Cham, kind of a little bit of everything. The dirty work glue guy from Jalen Haynes, the dirty work glue guy on the perimeter in Sincere Harris, and then 3-point specialist in Celestine, who has played in some big games, including against Duke in March Madness just a couple of weeks ago. So on paper, he's doing all the right things. The question is going to be, how does everything fit? And who else is he going to be targeting as this thing winds down? Is there a chance that they land another big fish? Or is it now about complementary pieces from smaller schools that aren't going to cost as much money? You're the stats guy. How many scholarships do we have left? Give me kind of the breakdown of where we stand as the portal closes tomorrow, the 22nd.
Yeah, first of all, everybody, I have the stuff in the link tree in my bio now. So you don't have to DM me or like search the timeline to find it. It'll be there. I think, there's always a possibility we get another big fish. I'm pretty confident it's not going to be as big of a fish as Cham if we do. But it seems much more likely that we're just going to fill out the roster with, in my opinion, the next ad's going to be a power forward or someone who's played some power forward, like more than Celestine. I'm going to say his name wrong so many times. We have 11 used. There are 15 now, in case people don't realize that. We have I doubt we see many coaches use all 15, though, so keep that in mind. Like, I think we're going to go to 12 or 13 here. And, just for instance, right now we have 8 guys that you could say for sure are in the rotation, maybe even 10 if you think McKinley and Tillery are in that conversation. So we're really just filling out the roster at this point, in my opinion. So get that power forward that's not a tweener like Haynes or Celestine are. And let's not put too much, like every season we've been going in with like a big question, I think. Let's not go into this season being like, we have to rely on Tyler McKinley off of an ACL injury. Let's go in and be like, Tyler, if you want those minutes, you got to beat that guy out in front of you. You know, we have to raise the standard here. Like it's done going into seasons with like glaring issues, even with just like that backup player, because the starters haven't been that huge issue.
We know that he's not beating out Cham at the 5 spot. That's our starting center. We've seen enough from him at this level to where Cham is our guy.
Mm-hmm.
Starting lineup. Let's take a crack at it before we hit the road and the lunch break is over. I'm going to go with Jizzle's your starting point guard. I'm going to go with Sincere as your starting shooting guard. I'll go with Celestine as your starting 3 today, although I could see it being Abayev if, a 4 works out. I would go with Abayev at the 4 right now in this current situation, or Celestine at the 4, Abayev at the 3, whatever. And then I would go with Cham is your starting 5. I think that's my 5-man unit. What about you?
Man, I've seen like 50 different lineups already. This is great. I love stuff like this. A lot of people have Kriisa starting at the 1. I just think Jizzle's starting. I think Jizzle at point guard, Day shooting guard, Abayev 3, Haynes 4, Cham 5. Right now, that's what I got. But yeah,
I hate that.
Celestine thing's a coin flip. That's something to look at. Look at OKC. They've got the 2 bigs. They both shoot 3s though, with Ched and Hartenstein. But
yep. This will be a topic on another day, but I do think Cat fans are severely underrating Sean Abayev. I watched him in that Team USA versus Team World. He was a late addition for Team World due to someone being hurt or sick, or they just needed a roster spot. Played like 6 minutes in the game, scored 13 points, and he's on the same floor as DeBonsta, if that's his name, going to BYU, and the Boozers, and some of the best basketball players in the country at that age. And it's a very good class. And Abayev just came in and scored 13 in his sleep. I don't know how he's going to be defensively. That's something that we're going to have to look at as the season progresses. But in terms of just getting buckets, I promise you, this is no Shaq Thomas situation. This is no Jermaine Lawrence situation. This is someone that's going to come in as a polished scorer from day one and hit difficult shots. He's going to be able to put the ball in the basket. He's extremely exciting. This team's starting to shape up to be pretty damn exciting, man. I wanted to retain Jizzle James. They do just that. We bring in Kriisa, who is a buy low candidate, who started on a 2 seed back in the day. Like, all the chips are starting to fall into place that this team can be really good. Again, how's it going to fit? And is our coach able to take a roster of a bunch of hodgepodge players that have talent and make it work? He's not been able to do it yet. But hey, all streaks are meant to be broken, right? And the Cats have not made the tourney in 6 years. We are hoping that changes. Final thoughts from you before we call this thing a day.
Yeah. Just quick on the Abayev thing you just mentioned. I agree. I think the shot creation and shot making threat is like almost a guarantee. Like with his height and guys like that, they get to their spots and you have to guard them. Like you have to try to guard that. And one thing I'm excited about here is if Jizzle does take a leap, he has that same get to your spot thing in the mid-range. I know it's mid-range, whatever. But if you have 40 minutes of guys like that on the floor that, you just got to guard these guys, it helps other players on the team. And we just got to hope that the guys around Jizzle help elevate him because, it was tough to watch him last year. I believe in him. I think he's a dog. I think Wes wouldn't risk his career on bringing him back if he didn't believe in that. And, I think he'll figure it out here. But the question is, how much better can he get? Because if he's just a little better, that's not enough.
Yeah. Cats have added some shooting this offseason. They've added some bigs that play very differently. They've added in one of the best, if not the best, on-ball perimeter defender, point of attack defender in the Big 12 in Sincere Harris. So, again, on paper, Wes Miller's doing all the right things. He wins the offseason again. Nothing else could happen. He could bring in 4 dudes from Miami, Ohio, and Wes Miller has won the offseason with the 5 portal additions that he had. and with the players that he kept. I think everyone wanted to keep Day Thomas. Day's back in the fold. Tillery is supposed to be an absolute dog from everything I've heard. Gives you some someone compared him to Devin Downey, and I'm like, he's not quick enough to be Devin Downey, but he is a little bulldog, and he's listed as little as 5'10". So it's been a while since we've had one of those. But it's a very intriguing, talented roster that he's bringing in. How will they complement each other? That is the question. For Eric Lilly, Chuck Walter, this is Chatterbox Bearcats. We will see you next time as the Bearcats still have some scholarships to fill out this roster. Peace.